On July 11 and 12, 2025, the fury of nature was unleashed upon Beijing, the proud and bustling capital of China. Triggered by the most intense rainfall in over a decade, a catastrophic dam collapse released a great deluge, plunging the city into unprecedented chaos and desperation. The disaster, a deadly combination of the remnants of Typhoon Danas and an unusually potent monsoonal convergence, transformed sprawling avenues into raging rivers, paralyzing the vital transportation network and forcing tens of thousands of residents to flee their homes in utter panic.
Trade and connectivity.
In just a few short hours, the face of one of the world's most modern megacities was completely transformed. Its infrastructure, a source of national pride, buckled and collapsed under the unimaginable pressure of millions of cubic meters of water. The flood ruthlessly exposed critical vulnerabilities in the city's flood control systems, even after expensive upgrades based on the Sponge City model had recently been implemented. Theory could not withstand the harsh reality. In the Chaoyang district, the city's financial and diplomatic heart, monitoring stations recorded a historic 68.2 mm of rain in a single hour, a figure that surpassed all calculations and forecasts. The subway system, the backbone of daily transit for millions, had to shut down most of its lines as water flooded stations and tunnels, turning complex engineering marvels into subterranean traps. Dawn revealed the landscape of devastation. The government's response was activated on a massive scale. A blue rainstorm alert had been issued early in the morning, but the speed and intensity of the downpour overwhelmed initial precautions. An emergency evacuation order was issued for low-lying residential areas and villages perched precariously on hillsides, where the risk of landslides was imminent. Interagency emergency teams, comprising firefighters, medical personnel, sanitation workers, and even military units, were urgently dispatched. They faced a near-impossible task rescuing thousands of residents trapped on rooftops and in isolated apartment buildings, and clearing countless obstacles from deeply flooded roads. Drones were mobilized to assess the damage from above and identify those in need of help, while social media platforms like Weibo and WeChat became crucial channels for citizens to send out distress calls and for volunteer groups to self-organize relief efforts. The story of the disaster is not only measured in dry statistics, more than 10,000 evacuated in Beijing and over 80,000 across the affected region, but is also written in countless personal tragedies. In the Mentuga district, a mountainous area west of Beijing, many families watched as their life's savings were swept away in an instant by torrents of mud. The images of elderly people being carried on the backs of their children through raging currents, or of exhausted firefighters relentlessly searching for the missing, became haunting symbols of the fragility of human life in the face of nature's power. The storm's impact was not confined to the capital. It created a devastating ripple effect across vast swaths of central and southwestern China. In Guizhou and Sichuan, more than 25 major rivers swelled beyond their historic flood levels. The Chishu River in Guizhou reached its highest peak since 1953, while the Xiaoyang River in Sichuan also recorded a water level unseen in nearly 3 decades. State media continuously broadcast grave warnings about the risk of levee breaches and the immense pressure on hydroelectric dams, including concerns over the safety of the mega dam, the Three Gorges, as upstream water levels continued to rise. As the floodwaters began to recede in some areas, a second, silent crisis, no less dangerous, began to take shape. Public health agencies faced the imminent threat of disease outbreaks due to heavily contaminated water sources. The floodwaters had mixed with raw sewage and industrial chemicals, creating a perfect breeding ground for infectious diseases like cholera, typhoid, and various skin ailments. Large-scale disinfection campaigns were launched, and millions of water purification tablets were distributed. Residents were strictly advised not to consume unboiled water and to avoid direct contact with the floodwaters. Furthermore, the economic impact was severe. Thousands of businesses were forced to close, supply chains were severed, and initial damage estimates ran into the billions of dollars. Meteorologists and environmental experts pointed out that this tragedy was not a random event. It was a clear and painful manifestation of a global trend, the increasing frequency and intensity of extreme weather events due to climate change. The warming of the atmosphere and oceans has supercharged storms with more energy and moisture, making them far more dangerous upon landfall. The convergence of tropical moisture from Typhoon Dana's with the continental monsoonal air mass created a perfect rain bomb. Ironically, this great flood followed a prolonged and intense heat wave demonstrating the abrupt and unpredictable weather whiplash of the new era. The 2025 Beijing disaster is more than just a story of broken infrastructure or overwhelmed systems. It is an epic of human resilience, of the survival instinct, and of a community spirit that rises in the face of adversity. But above all, it is a profound wake-up call, an unavoidable reminder of the urgent need to enhance resilience and adaptation in a rapidly changing world. The haunting images of a Beijing submerged under a sea of water will linger for years to come, a powerful testament to the fact that no city, no matter how modern or wealthy, is entirely immune to the wrath of a warming planet. The task of reconstruction is not merely to rebuild what was lost, but must be a fundamental rethinking of how we design our cities and coexist with nature in an uncertain future.